And what you have now is a full routine established about what you want to get done and full focus on the season.
Set to go now in Week 6 of the NFL season, and we are underway on EA Sports. That's fielded in the end zone. And he won't return this one. He'll go down to a knee, and they'll start at the 25. They'll run for the first time with Johnson. And that play going absolutely nowhere as he's belted before he could get out of the backfield.
An interesting and intriguing decision there defensively because they kept extra DBs on the field despite seeing the multiple tight end look that came out for the offense.
I thought they were going to switch out of it. I didn't know if they felt they didn't have time or what the case was.
Well, in any event, the extra...
And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked up by Mike Hughes. And he is going to get this one back to the 20-yard line. They are in a zone. Remember, folks, 4 interceptions for this defense a week ago. First drive, make it number 5.
And the focal point will be the people who pick the ball out of the air. But let's not forget, to make that happen, it has to be an excellent pass rush, terrific coverage where they are plastered to the receivers, and then, of course, taking it away, making the catch, and going in the other direction.
There are the numbers for Cook from a week ago. 24 carries, 98 yards, too shy of 100.
And they love what they've got in him. He's the number 4 rusher in the league right now, so you know that you have to account for him on defense, which means you can play complementary football as well. Throw the play action, get it out to the wide receivers, because they should have some open space because the defense will key on it.
On second down, Cook. And forget about finding a lane. He barely had time to look up before he was planted in the backfield. It'll be a loss of 1, and that'll make it 3rd down.
Nice play right there to stop him behind the line, but I want to see how this defense continues to play him here in the first half.
Yeah, we know. You know better than I. He has the ability to take over a game. So what do you do?
Yeah, I think you have to make sure that you bottle him in at varying levels, because if you crowd everyone to the line of scrimmage, if he breaks through, there's nothing but room to run. A quick burst there, and he nicely bit off a pretty decent gain.
And no signs of the field goal unit. They're going for it on 4th down. Luck on the sneak. And they will touch him down, but not before he gets the first. So the decision to go for it turns out to be a good one. They get a couple of yards, and as a result, the drive keeps moving. It's now 1st and goal.
We often hear analysts talk about a quarterback's wingspan, almost like a forward in basketball. But here's where it pays to have a long reach. They find a slight opening and are able to stick the ball forward to pick up first downs.
They'll run with Cook. Showed off the footwork, but still corralled shy of the 5 at the 6. He'll get 2 out of that run, and it's going to bring up a 2nd and goal.
This drive is pretty clear. Almost feels like old-school fundamentals, doesn't it? Want to impose their will on the defense. Was that 5 straight runs?
Yeah, 5 straight carries to start this drive, and like you said, the way it's working, they may just stick with it. The 6-yard line, the line of scrimmage on 2nd and goal. They'll give it to him up the middle, and they'll get him down here at about the 5-yard line. Call it a gain of a yard as they get a little bit closer here. It's 3rd and goal. 2 straight shots on the ground. Now on 3rd, do you go to the air?
I think the possibility exists, and if you're doing it, you're probably going play action since you ran it twice. But I often think that 2nd down is the time you go play action and throw the ball. I say commit to the run and think about it being 4-down territory.
Here is Cook on 3rd and goal. And this is going to result in losing yardage. They're driven back to the 8-yard line. And a loss of 3 to bring up 4th.
Now I would be surprised if they go for it. 3 points is not ideal. It's not what they want, but it's still only the first half. Take the 3 points and move on.
So a pretty good opening drive. That'll make the home fans somewhat happy. They wanted 6, but they got 3 in the early lead.
And they should be happy. The guys look good getting down the field. That's got to give them a little bit of hope that good things are in store here today for them.
That'll be taken in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Getting set to go again, Matthew Stafford trots back onto the field. And he comes out on the heels of an interception he threw last time they had the ball.
Yeah, and you know, the quarterbacks that I know that are the best ones, the ones that really know how to lead their team, they tell them, that's on me. That's my bad. But let's go back out there and move ahead again, guys. We can get this done.
One good thing for him, it did only lead to 3 points and not a touchdown after that turnover.
Big thanks to the defense.
Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be second down.
Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice, solid gain. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
On second down, here's Stafford. Completing it here to Marvin Jones. Stafford to Jones, enough for a Lion first down.
A little football 101 there. You just see the receiver try to run down the defender, meaning he goes right at him and really trying to move him a little bit towards the center of the field so he can put his foot in the ground and break to the out, to the sideline, and make a catch.
Stafford on first down. And the open receiver, it's Robert Woods. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. Give him 11 yards and time and a new set of downs.
That was a nicely run slant route, and what the receiver's trying to do is make the defender think he's going upfield for a deeper route and then breaks it off, usually after about 3 to 4 steps, and cuts towards the middle of the field. And now what he's trying to do is use his body to keep the defender
under a heavy rush, and down he goes.
Oh, my goodness. Was that a defensive back that got to him with the pressure?
Oh, look at the former defensive back. You're all smiles up here.
I hope everybody can hear my smile on that play.
And they need to work to at least get some of this yardage back after the sack. 2nd and 19. Now here's the first carry for Amir Abdullah. And able to get this one all the way up to about the 46-yard line. 8 yards on the run there, and that trims it to a 3rd and 11 coming up.
That was a good run, probably right on the edge of breaking into something really big. So the defensive guys right now are talking about, okay, what can we do to slow him down before he truly gets started?
And that is incomplete. I know he wants to get his team back in the game, but a 50-50 ball right there that maybe was a little questionable.
Yeah, he's pretty lucky to get that one back. I think that sometimes these quarterbacks play with a lot of confidence that borders on arrogance, and that can put your team in some Dutch.
Yeah, especially maybe want to look at some safer routes after the interception he had that ended their last drive. Here's Cook as they begin on the ground. And he'll get about 4 across the 30 to the 32.
I call that play a success. A nice inside run sets up a very manageable second down. A very solid gain on that play.
11 feet.
To throw on second down is Locke. He's going to flip one out here to his running back. No gain on the play, and it'll bring up a 3rd down. They had the catch on second down, but it didn't help at all, and now they're looking at 3rd down here. Now hold everything here. We're going to get a timeout by the offense. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this second quarter. And on 3rd down, a nickel formation here defensively. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he'll get this only up to about the 35. 3 yards won't be enough here as that'll bring up 4th down.
Well, he hasn't made much of an impact in the running game thus far, and after that last run, not much is going to change in that area.
He hasn't been able to get anything going, and really the offensive line not helping him much. It's just a 30-yard punt that time, no return. And the Lions will take over. So here come the Lions now. And the results for them have not been strong to this point. 2 drives have ended in a turnover and then a punt.
So would it be too snarky for me to say that they've shown improvement? Because you have two drives with turnovers. Now they punted it away, so at least they didn't turn it over. That's good, right?
You're going to get some angry users reaching out to you on social media.
Well, I don't mean to be. I was actually looking for the positive. Silver lining, you know. They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they were hoping Those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
That catch good for 5. It's third down.
And, partner, I think that was a great example that not all tight ends are created equal, because everything was right. Got the completion, but he's not one of the more dynamic guys in the league. So even though he caught it, couldn't turn it into much more.
Here's Stafford. Firing quickly here, and that's complete. And he'll be brought down shy of the 40 at the 38-yard line. Good defense holds him to only a yard, and it'll be fourth down.
He wasn't the primary target, but I think it was almost like a check-down situation, wasn't it?
Yeah, hoping he can break some tackles, a big tight end, but he couldn't do it.
Yeah, get into that big frame and hope he could scatter some bodies, unable to get it done.
Now the Vikings offense works their way back onto the field.
Well, they're going to have to go at least 50, 60 yards here if they want to ensure that they don't have to punt the ball like they did last time.
Yeah, so what you're saying is we're not playing to just get out of the shadow of your own goal line, right? You're playing to make sure the punter doesn't see the field again. So it's not picking up a couple of first downs. You want to pick up 5 or 6.
The Red Sea parts, and there he goes. The 20. Touchdown, Vikings. And the Vikings get the quick strike touchdown. Well, they were back in the shadows of their own goalpost, and that flipped quickly.
So much for playing it safe. I mean, the conservative, easy call, run the football, take care of it, create some space, pump the ball away. But no, let's throw it. And sometimes a defense's aggressiveness is used against them, because when you got people backed up, your natural inclination is to try and really force them back, and sometimes they get burned that way.
And they got burned there. So out now come the Lions. And with this deficit, you can't have too many more drives like the last drive where you had to punt it away.
You know what I would tell my offense right here? The punter doesn't exist, guys. He doesn't even exist. He's not a team anymore. I just cut him, all right? So you've got to go out and create some offense for us here and give us some points. No way does that guy get on the field in this drive.
Poor punter.
Yeah, it wasn't his
rush coming, and he's taken down.
Brandon, if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see an all-out rush like that, I file it away, because I'm going to use their aggressiveness against them as this game goes on. I'm going to hit them with a screen soon.
The second down run for Abdullah. And they'll bring him down at the 27-yard line. It'll be a pickup of 12 yards. And all of a sudden here, it's third down.
It seemed like the situation was second and a mile to go for a first down, which screams what? Throw the football. You got to pass in order to try and pick up that kind of yardage. But in this case, they ran a tendency breaker, because the tendency is for defenses to be out there and be set up for a pass. So you break tendency and actually run the football. That changes everything, because if you're able to find a crease, you often have bigger guys working against smaller guys downfield. They picked up excellent yardage there to bring up a third down. As far as tight ends go, this guy's not a speed burner. He's much more of an inline blocking type of a tight end. But how about this last play? Made a nice catch and picked up a first down.
That's what impresses me about him. When he's called upon, usually gets it done.
And he stopped immediately there. No gain on the play there. Second down.
Perfectly designed blitz right there. They took that one from the grease board to the field, because they were able to free up their linebacker to get into the backfield and spill the play.
They'll run it now out of the gun. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of 2, now third down.
When you're putting together a formula for winning defense, it's exactly what we're seeing in this game. Controlling the line of scrimmage, attacking, and changing everything so that now they're playing in the offense's backfield. They're playing an excellent game.
And Jones has it over the middle. And he'll be brought down at the 48-yard line. Another timeout called by the Vikings now. That's their second, so they'll have one remaining here in this second quarter. We'll be right back. Here's Sam Martin now as he's on to punt for Minnesota.
And you see Dalvin Cook and the offense heading back out. And we checked the rushing numbers so far here into Week 6, and the returns have been really good. Now, you're starting to hit that stride middle of the season toward the end. They're certainly hoping they can keep up this production.
They are, because one of the adages in the NFL is that defense travels and defense endures even in bad weather, right? You know what else does? A good running game. And people want that, especially as you head down the stretch. You may play outdoors in some nasty stuff. You're trying to get to the playoffs. This is the time to get it going. And individually, I don't think you should just think about 1,000 yards either. The bar has to be set higher with this beginning.
Oh, he's got a man wide open, complete. 20, 10, touchdown, Vikings. A big play there. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns here so far. Carlson on for the PAT. Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And that makes our score 17-0. Carlson now to kick this one away. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Now the Lions offense, they get ready to head back out there.
And right now these guys, they're shuffling a little bit, maybe doubting, because 3 straight drives have ended with them punting the football away.
Yeah, so you start pointing fingers at each other a little bit, asking a lot of questions. What are you seeing? What are you getting? Maybe trying to narrow down your playbook a little bit and maybe get simpler rather than more complex in order to try and fashion together a drive.
Here's Stafford now on second down. Throw left side, taken in by Galladay. A really good pickup of 28 yards.
Thus far, it hasn't been a real fun half for them, but a play like that may get them off the schneid a little bit, get them loosened up and moving.
Kind of seems like they've been sleepwalking and still sitting on 0 points.
And it's not always making an adjustment. Sometimes it's just going back to what you know can work and finally getting it.
And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. And he takes this one in for a Lions touchdown. In for the score. And the Lions are able to cut into this lead.
And if you blinked, you probably missed that touchdown drive. It happened in a hurry.
I was just putting mustard on my hot dog, and all of a sudden he's in the end zone. I've got to do a better job of paying attention with this quick strike offense.
I thought you weren't going to tell your wife about the hot dogs in the booth thing.
I just did, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You did.
This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And the decision to bring it out, a good one, as he's up a yard or 2 shy of the 30. And now out comes Minnesota.
And for them, a touchdown their last go-around. Obviously, they'll be hoping to do that again.
And when you start plotting for this drive, when you start thinking to yourself, okay, what are we going to do? You don't go away from what you did before because that worked, but you have to be prepared for wrinkles and counters.
A big seam, and he might go all the way. And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. A great play there. His 6th touchdown of the season. And the Vikings are going to add on to their lead. Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And that'll make this a 3-score game now. The lead moves to 17. Carlson now to kick this one away. This is taken about 7 yards deep. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the... So the Lions offense ready to go back out onto the field. I guess they have to feel a little gratified to at least get on the board last time, but still work to do.
No doubt about it. I wonder now if they're going to try to increase the urgency a little bit, maybe pump up the pace, maybe go 2 minute. Who knows? Let's see what they decide to do.
And he's taken down, but able to slip across the 35. The drive starting with a first down, 11 yards on that pickup. On 1st and 10, Stafford. He couldn't quite hold it. Got hit. Ball pops out. Incomplete.
And attempted a deep ball there. They didn't get it. But, boy, they're going to need a few of those to actually hit in order to get back into this game.
Good thing they do have a little bit of time here still left in the contest. Decent-sized deficit, but not one that they can't manage. They'll try again from the 36 on 2nd and 10. Second and 10, Stafford again. Now he'll dump it underneath to his running back, complete. And he'll be stopped right at midfield. The Lions will use the first of their timeouts as they get the stoppage with just under 50 seconds remaining in half number 1. From the 50, Stafford. This a screen to Abdullah. And Abdullah lost the football. But I believe the Lion was there to recover it. Yes, they will indeed keep possession. And before this second down play, we'll get a whistle, a signal, and a timeout.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is reversed.
This challenge was initiated by the guys in New York. Taking a look at the play, less than 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, I'm sure the coach wanted to challenge it, so he's probably going to send the New York office a hop. Stafford looks to throw again. Open man is Galladay, complete. And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35. He got 18 yards out of that one, and it gets him a new set of downs. Stafford now 13 of 16 throwing the football. It's 1st and 10. Throwing again is Stafford. He rifles one that's intercepted. Picked off by the linebacker, Eric Kendricks. And his guys have got it back at the closing stages of the first half.
Brandon, this is a veteran quarterback back there. He should know better than to make a throw like this. This is definitely not his best ball, and I think he knew this was trouble the second it was leaving his hand.
19 seconds showing to play in the half as they come up here 1st and 10. They start the drive with Cook. And he gets this one just shy of the 40, down at the 39. Now whistles come in. We're going to get a timeout here by the offense, as it'll come with 15 seconds to play in the first half. Now a play fake here on 1st down. Wide open receiver, complete. And they've got it well across midfield down to the 40 before it's all said and done. And a nice gain of 21 yards. We now proceed to the start of the second half. The Vikings have to like their position. They've got the lead. They get this football as well as we are back and underway for the second half. This is fielded a couple yards deep. Solid return, pretty good field position. They'll start at the 32-yard line. Out come the Vikings. They'll have it first on offense as we begin the third. This is sort of what you would call a put-away drive, isn't it? They score here, especially a touchdown. It's almost out of reach.
It certainly feels that way, and I think that they're going to call their plays accordingly, because what you really want to do, even though you know the scoreboard is still up there and the game's going to go on, in fact, you can take the spirit away from another team, that their drive and will to come back and win can be taken with another score right here.
Still third quarter, but you just get that feel.
Yeah, they're teetering right there on the brink, aren't they?
We're wrong. Middle. 675.
Again, it's Cook. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. A nice pickup there of 11 yards, and it'll move the sticks.
They're trying to show that they can run the ball, protect this lead, give it to the backs, play a little bit of keep away, don't you think?
And that's probably a good philosophy at this point, going to make that defense stand up and stop them.
Easy.
first down. Here's the run with Cook. 3 yards on the pickup there, and it'll be second down.
Third quarter, and you've got the lead. You're not ready to go into that 4-minute offense to close the game out, but a running game can really benefit your team right now.
Gun. 53. 12. Hurry. You go tight. 11.
Just beating the play clock is Locke. Hits his target. It's Taylor Gabriel. Touchdown, Vikings. That's 3 touchdown passes now for Andrew Luck. And the Vikings find a way to stretch their lead. As a former DB, you might not like to see that, but from a wide receiver's perspective, those are the plays they dream of.
Correct on both counts, all right? Because once he took off, I mean, let's face it, that should have been done in Big Sky Country. Aren't any speed limits out there? And off he went. Glad I wasn't the one trying to chase him.
Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And the lead is now 24. A drive there of just 4 plays. And it's polished off by a Viking score. Carlson now to kick this one away. This is taken about 7 yards deep. And he'll elect not to return this one, so they'll bring it out to the 25 on the touchback. So we get a look at the Lions offense as they get ready for their first possession of the second half. They trail offense, first time to touch the ball in quarter 3, and we'll see what they can do.
And I can't wait to see what they have planned, because some teams script to start a half. Other teams just go, okay, these are the sequence of plays we want to run. These things worked well for us. And sometimes they throw in that big chunk play right away.
Shocker.
Try and get after them early and try and create a big play to give themselves some momentum.
See what they have up their sleeve.
Well, if these guys are going to chop into that deficit, they're going to have to do a much better job in the run game. Caught behind the line of scrimmage, no yardage to be found.
Stafford gives to Adula on the draw. And not much there. Maybe a yard up to the 24.
I know the scouting report on him is that he doesn't possess the eye discipline to be an elite linebacker. And what that means is his ability to read, react, and make a play. But on that one, he looked like one of those guys.
This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on third down. Throwing on third down, Stafford. Oh, he's got a man wide open, complete. Kelvin Benjamin past the 20. And he'll get into the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit. Kelvin Benjamin, his first touchdown on the year. And the Lions are able to draw a bit closer. So now Stafford will bring up the Lions, and they'll go for 2.
Partner, remember that old film of Peyton Manning going through the route tree with his great receivers in Indianapolis? I think we're seeing the results of the same type of work here today. These guys know each other so well that they don't even have to call the play. They can just look each other and know the route that's going to be run, and usually the connection is perfect.
This is fielded a couple yards deep. And he'll take it up past the 25 to the 26-yard line. And you see Dalvin Cook and the offense heading back out. He's been a good workhorse. I know we use the word workhorse a lot, but he's been a good workhorse for him in this one.
No doubt about it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you're looking for if you're a back, because that means everything's coming together for you. Big guys up front have created space. You've run through it. You've probably got some help even from the wide receivers who want to catch passes as opposed to block, but they're helping out too.
Yeah, everyone's pitching in. He's had a good game. Here's 2nd and 7 now from the 28. They run it again with Cook. And he's taken down but able to slip across the 35. Give him 10 yards on that one, and that'll earn him a fresh set of downs.
Now, this is an example of breaking down a defense, because on a lot of these runs, he's getting past the point of attack, and guess what he's doing? Forcing the secondary guys to have to make a lot of tackles.
Another tote for the workhorse this afternoon. It's Cook. And he'll get this out past the 45 to the 47. Give him 9 on the carry that time, and they're set up with a 2nd and 1.
some runs are blocked so well, you almost forget that someone has to carry the ball to gain the yardage. The leverage by the offensive line to create space up front, really well done.
Let it roll, let it roll, let it roll.
A give. This is Cook. And he'll get it down to the 47 here. And 5 yards on the play there as the drive will continue.
And he continues to pile up the yardage. That puts him over $150 now. And this defense has really had its problems trying to keep him contained.
So the ball moves into Lion territory now. Here's 1st and 10 at the 47. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he's taken down inside the 30. That good for 19 and a 1st down.
Well, he does it at a high level, doesn't he? Because when I watch him, I think of his vision. Straight ahead, peripheral. Also has that sense of where holes are going to be before they actually open. I think that helps set him apart from many of the other backs in the league.
Handoff comes to Cook. And he'll get about 4 as he's brought down at the 24. And 3rd quarter here, you've got the lead. This is where that strong run game can really benefit you. Stayed in bounds there, kept the clock going.
I like all the points you just made there. And if you throw the football and it's incomplete, now you've stopped the clock and you've helped out the guys on the other side of the ball. So keep it in the hands of those runners. Keep moving it. Keep driving the clock.
His throw caught right around the 6. And they will eventually get him down, but he's inside the 5 all the way to the 3. His big day receiving just keeps getting bigger. He's over 200 yards now on the afternoon. And he's certainly been a huge factor in this when he's got the 2 touchdowns to his credit. Now they look to him again. He picks up the 1st.
Yeah, I can hear everyone saying, well, why don't you cover him, double him, triple him, do what you have to do. But sometimes they get locked into such a groove and such a connection, it doesn't matter how many.
And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. A great effort there. His 1st touchdown on the year. And the Vikings are going to add on to their lead. Getting your back involved, what's the importance there in the passing game?
Well, oftentimes you can create mismatches because who's going to cover him? And you get him into space, which is where he likes to operate with the ball in his hands. Oftentimes makes people miss, gets that run after the catch, and off he goes.
And into the end zone. This will be taken to the back of the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. And Detroit getting set to go now. They have been struggling. I would imagine at halftime they went through some possible changes. Well, those changes aren't working, so now where do you go?
I think that now it's much more in their head. And what I mean by that is just what you said. You've gone over the changes. I bet they were pretty clinical at the half, not too emotional. They might need to go to the emotional side because you've got to find something, some spark somewhere. And so far, just being calm hasn't exactly worked.
They need any spark at this point. And we return, welcoming you back to Minneapolis. A lot of happy faces in the crowd at this point as their guys have a big lead here to start quarter number 4. They'll come up now 2nd and 4 from the 31. To throw on 2nd down to Stafford. And that'll be incomplete. The Lions on 3rd down. 2 for 5 to this point. This is 3rd and 4. Out of the gun, Stafford. And he's got his man on the out route. And he'll get it up near the 35, right at the 34 here. They stop him for only 3 that time, and that'll bring up 4th down. You got the big lead defensively, willing to give them that underneath stuff, right? And
this is why you work on your tackling. Tackle them after the catch, inbounds, keep the clock running. Just go ahead and bleed the game out that way.
And he'll find Galladay. That's complete. And he'll be brought down with the 1st down and a late flag here, too. And he may get a few more tacked on for good measure.
Defense.
So they'll take the yardage and tack on 15 more for the face
Automatic
mask.
first down.
Talk about a play that absolutely costs you in the end. Just trying to do your job, right? Trying to get him on the ground. Next thing you know, they're marching off another 15 against your squad.
So 1st and 10 after a big mistake on 4th down with a penalty.
Set. 180.
From the gun, here's Stafford. To the right and complete to Galladay. And they're able to get this one past the 30 to the 25-yard line. Back-to-back nice gains. That one for 14 yards and another first. Now a first down throw. Stafford. Oh, he dropped it. And that's pretty indicative of the way this one's gone. Another wayward pass. You know, things started out poorly in this game, and to be frank, they just really haven't gotten much better.
And all that does is embolden a secondary. They feel good about what's going on, and they just play better and better.
On 2nd and 10, Stafford. They'll try and set up the screen. It's complete. And he went nowhere. He'll lose yardage back to the 29. That'll wind up going for a loss of 4. And that'll force upon him a 3rd and 14.
I thought that wasn't a bad time to call the screen. I thought late game, down on the scoreboard, had to figure they were expecting a pass downfield.
Yeah, so the edge rushers, they're coming. That could have hit big. You're right. Good recognition defensively to snuff that one out. Now, that last completion, certainly not what they were hoping for, as now they'll try to convert on 3rd. Back to throw. Stafford. Oh, it's a screen pass. That's complete. That'll make it 4th down after a loss of 1. Well, you can see what they wanted to do. They wanted to set up the screen there, but it got blown up.
It's hard to run that play if you're not getting a lot of pressure at the quarterback because the space doesn't open up. They were able to read that one and slow it down and stop it before they could get a first down.
Now they go for it on 4th, but this one is going to wind up incomplete. Well, that's another mistake there on the drop pass on 4th, and we've seen them do things like this all game.
It's not hard to figure out why they're down by that deficit. They haven't made plays that are going to keep them in the game or win the game all game long. That's another example right there. It all boils down at the end of it to execution. Either you make the play or you don't.
They'll run it now out of the gun. And he'll be limited to a short gain up to about the 34-yard line. Give him 3 on first down. It'll set up a 2nd and 7.
Well, Brandon, pace comes into play now because they've got the advantage. They've got the football, but they've got to be very careful about what speed they're going to play. You know, my music teacher back in New Paltz, Mrs. Bythema Bagley, used to say, don't go prestissimo when you really want to go largo. And what she meant by that is don't go too fast when you really want to go at a nice, slow, deliberate pace.
I am speechless. I am without speech. And he takes this one down almost all the way to the 30. An excellent pickup of 34 yards. They have the nice cushion. They just want to pour it on right now, still throwing the football.
And I know my background says, why do you need to do this? Just go ahead and run out the clock and get a win. But as many people have pointed out to me, it's a video game, man. Go ahead and put the numbers up. Sportsmanship, not an issue.
Exercise those fingers. Now a run with Cook. And he's going to get this one down to the 30. Give him a couple on the carry there. 2nd and 8.
Bottom line, they want to keep this clock rolling, so they'll take that one right there. They just want to keep falling forward, and they want to put the onus on the big fellas up front in order to bring this one home.
Cook. And they'll get this one down to about the 20-yard line. It's a gain of 11 yards that time, and it produces a new set of downs.
He's still rumbling, isn't he? Still looking fresh in this one despite the heavy workload. But you and I both know, well-conditioned, and he did tell us that he thrives on being at his peak late in ball games.
Now Cook. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on first down. Good gain there on first down. It keeps them in a running situation probably.
They did everything right on that play, didn't they? They got the leverage up front, good blocking, a nice hole for him, ends up picking up nice yardage, stays in bounds to keep the clock rolling. They are in charge of this scenario right now. They want to stay that way.
And not in any rush offensively. Time for a break. We'll come back and wrap up garbage time after this. So the Vikings in possession of the football as we get you reset. They've got a third down now as they look for one more first down to help salt this one away. They'll run it. Here's Cook. And he will have the first down before he's brought down at the 3. They're able to convert on third down, and that sets up a first and goal.
Do my eyes deceive me, or is he getting stronger as this game moves along?
Burst seems just as good here in the fourth as it was way back in the first, doesn't it?
I do believe someone put a lot of time in the offseason and continues to condition during the season in order to continue to carry the ball at this rate.
It's a loss of 2 there, bringing up second down. On this day, the ground has been his, but at least on that individual play, we just saw the defense finally with a win.
Yeah, they finally got one, and that's a win for them, but all game long, he's seen the holes, and they've been huge for him. Kind of like a baseball hitter in the zone. The ball seems bigger, and he's just whacking it. These guys, they got it going today.
He's going to get it running right, and he's going to be taken down here with a penalty flag on the field.
Holding offense.
So on the big tight end, holding.
Each and every year, we talk about very few tight ends coming into the league that are polished blockers or asked to do it a lot in college. So it's a constant struggle and a constant fight to learn how to do it without holding.
Cook following the penalty. It'll be a gain of 11, and that's going to bring up an interesting third and goal. A lot to praise on this drive, obviously. I know you're seeing what I'm seeing. Those guys up front, they're getting it done.
Doesn't matter what play is called. They are handling their business at the line of scrimmage and dominating right now on this drive.
The Vikings on third down. They've only converted once in 4 tries. They're looking at a third and goal here. Now they'll run it on the toss. And he will get into the end zone. It's another touchdown. This thing is ugly.
Is it okay if I break one of our rules, partner, which is to never call a game over until it's over? Because this certainly feels like it's over after that drive.
Yeah, that was spirit-crushing, wasn't it? And now you just kind of felt the air go out of the balloon.
Yeah, they were fighting so hard to stay in there, and they knew they had to stop them on that drive. But when they were unable to, I think you're exactly right. You could see them sag on their sideline, and I think this one might just be over.
And Detroit getting set to go now. They are just obviously getting shellacked here in this one, Charles. What's the message if you're a coach for this final drive in a lopsided game like this?
For a lot of coaches,
be honest.
Don't forget today. Don't forget what has happened out here.
Yeah, use that as ammo going forward.
Exactly. Take a great look at that scoreboard. Realize how poorly everything went for us today. Coaching, playing, the whole deal. And never forget it, because
you're not going to want that feeling.
No, you don't want that feeling again. And who knows? You may meet up with this team again.
Throwing to start the drive, but that one incomplete. Line of scrimmage, again the 25, 2nd and 10.
Ready? Ready?
Back to the air. Stafford on 2nd down. And a diving grab. I think he got that. Yes. Now hold everything here. We're going to get a timeout by the offense. As they get it with 16 seconds remaining on the clock. Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10.
You ready? Lady?
On 1st down, Stafford here. And that's going to be incomplete. 12 seconds left.
Didn't have a receiver open downfield, and as it turned out, couldn't even find his outlet man because of the coverage. It was way too tight, unable to find anyone open.
So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on first down. Throwing again. Stafford. Incomplete. And we're down to 8 seconds now. Amir Abdullah, the intended target. And it's 3rd down.
Well, they're slinging it. And then there's one you got to put a timer on, huh? I mean, that one came in hot.
That came in hot, but overthrown, out of his reach and incomplete. False start's going to push him back, but these days, how hard must it be to be an offensive lineman?
It's very hard, Brandon. You've got defensive linemen flinching, trying to draw you offside. You've got the loud crowds, and there are just so many super athletic players on defense now that you have to deal with each week. But through it all, these guys just sit in there for 4 quarters and slug it out.
3rd and long. It's Stafford. Now a desperation throw deep downfield. And he's going to be intercepted a 3rd time. Picked up by Harrison Smith. And the return will stop him well inside their own 20 at the 15-yard line. Well, Charles, it's one thing to win. It's another thing to win and put up the amount of points that they did. Boy, were they clicking on offense.
They can't help but feel great about themselves, can they? I mean, what a game to put up that number of points, continually feel like they're moving the ball and things are working and clicking. They think that they can bottle this and carry it with them.
And as an offensive coordinator, you just don't think you can do anything wrong. Whatever you call, run, pass, it's all going to work.
That's called being in the zone.
So for Minnesota, their good start continues as they get their record up to 4-2. And they'll hit the road next week to take on the Chicago Bears. Meanwhile, for the Lions,